It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee. Oh my gosh. And I feel like there's some accountability coming today.
1,000%.
Ackeem Emmons is here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here. And the other day, I was at an event for Tonal. And you'll explain all of that, but you're a strength coach for Tonal.
Yes, I am.
By the way, strength training is like my weakness when it comes to working. I'll do cardio all day, but strength, core, all of that is really tough for me. But I'm glad you're here because everybody right now is trying to get their summer body ready.
Just the season.
Yes.
Just the season.
And you have such an interesting story about how you even got into this space.
Yes.
So sometimes we feel like we procrastinate or we feel like, oh, I'm just not built like that, or my body is my body. It is what it is. I just have to accept that. But you went through a lot, right? So I would love for you to just give our audience your backstory on what made you get into this space of fitness.
I would definitely say that fitness found me. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So the origin of the story was actually getting hit by a car in Jamaica, Queens. I was running to the Long Island Railroad. At this time, I worked in Brooklyn. And crossing the street, this woman was speeding down the block. And it kind of obstructed both of our visions because a column was blocking. And so I stepped into the street. And by the time we made eye contact before it even happened, and she hit me, flipped in the air. And I just landed on the floor. I had my uniform in my hand at the time. I didn't know how long I was out, so I got up and grabbed my clothes, trying to get back to work. And I was just surrounded by a group of people, and they were like, "You need to calm down and relax." And I was like, "No, you need to get out of my way so I can catch the train."
Flipped in the air.
Flipped in the air, landed to the ground on my face. That's where this scar came from. And I just thought it was a little scratch. And I put my hand to my head, and my hand was covered in blood. I was in a state of shock. Passed out onto the floor. The ambulance came. But that leads to me being unable to walk for 3 months.
Wow.
And I lost everything at that time. You know, you're young. I had a car, I had an apartment. I'm an adult at this time. And everything just slipped through my fingers because I couldn't go to work. So I had to move in with my mom, had to go to PT. And the little things that I would take for granted, like these banded exercises, you know, this electrotherapy work, you know, like the little things that exercises you'll see people do and just kind of undermine them were the things that got me back on my feet, literally and figuratively. So with that being said, I was heavily in the restaurant industry. Like that was my passion. That's what I went to school for. And I mean, we talk about the origin story. My first race was against my dad. So running was something I loved to do my entire life, and not being able to do so.
And you're from Trinidad, by the way.
Come on now.
We got to make sure
up,
we, shout that out. Shout out to all our soca music lovers.
Yes, and all the reggae. Come on, baby. Carnival just passed. And so just having the gift of walking and running taken away from you just really shifted my perspective.
And how did that change your body, too? Because not even like having the ability to physically be able to walk, that has to mean your muscles. I remember somebody I know got hit by a car. Her kneecap slid down because she wasn't even able to, move her legs when she was in the bed.
So a lot of the pain and injury was in my lower back and in my knees. Aesthetically, I just say I got soft around the edges.
Right.
Right.
And that doesn't feel good, though. Like mentally, aside from all of that, aside from the fact that physically you're impaired, but it also takes a toll on you mentally.
Yeah. And again, like they say, it sounds super cliche, when you look good, you feel good. When you look bad, you feel bad and you do bad, Right. So my face was messed up. My body I didn't feel confident in the skin I was in. And it definitely took a toll on my self-esteem, So after time had gone by and I had healed up, and then I just fell in love with movement again, right?
Okay.
Like I stopped taking walking for granted. I stopped taking running for granted. And we can go deep into that story, but that was.
And so
beginning.
you were doing, at that time, you had to go and literally like learn how to walk again.
Yeah, I had to go to PT every day. I was going about 5 days a week, and I have the weekends off. I remember during the process, walking to PT felt like a victory.
Wow.
I remember one time, I didn't take a cab. I just had the strength to walk, and I remember just walking there, and I felt like Superman that day.
And at the same time, while all this is happening, you're happy to be alive because...
And you're part of the culture. I mean, shoes, clothes, jewelry, these things mean a lot to us. In that period of time, it defined me. And after the accident, just being alive was the gift.
Right.
The clothes, the shoes, the jewelry didn't mean anything anymore, right? I just had a completely different perspective, and like this thing that we call life that we take for granted, really means the most.
And Ackeem, I got to ask you financially, did insurance cover this too? Because that's a whole nother issue that you have to think about. You're not working, you move back home with your mom, but then what ended up happening? I mean, you got hit by a car. If it's her fault, did her insurance cover it? Did you have to pay for it, get reimbursed? Like, did your insurance, what ended up happening there?
Again, I was in the restaurant industry and I'm barely making minimum wage. I'm working off of tips. So insurance wasn't really a big thing. I had to pay out of pocket for a lot of things. And I had to pay a lot because in order for me to win the lawsuit, I had to not go to work for at least a year.
Right.
I already lost everything in the first month. You're talking about 11 more months in my mom's basement.
Well, first of all,
and
shout
my
out to your
Trinidadian mom
for
at that.
having a basement, even being,
you know, so
okay,
shout out to my mom. I love my mom.
She
Thank you
could have
so
been
much
living
for
in the
helping.
studio. You could have been on the couch. You know,
tough.
Thank God she had a basement.
So thank God she had the basement and a little bit of privacy. But I've told the story so many times. No one's ever asked that. But yeah, financially, it definitely did take a toll on me.
Yeah, because that doesn't do much for your confidence either, but also feeling like, damn, I didn't even have insurance. And that's not an easy thing to admit because, you know, we all think we're responsible in that way. And we also sometimes just take a risk in not having insurance and thinking like, well, nothing's going to happen to me, or let me just gamble and hope that nothing happens.
Yes.
And that way I don't want to have to pay, you know, the monthly health insurance fees. Here in America, health insurance is not a given.
It isn't a given, and life can change in an instant.
Right.
So take care of yourself, get insurance, and do the right thing.
All right, so now let's talk about this, the positive side.
Let's talk about some good stuff. Yeah. Come on, let's lighten the mood.
Well, no, I think
got me in my feelings,
because you're alive. So
yes.
that is, I think, really the main thing is that, yes, it was a lot of I'm sure, struggles mentally, financially, physically, but thank God you were alive at the end of it all. I know every day you had to be like thanking God because it could have went a whole nother way.
Yeah.
You know? All right. So then you started deciding that you were going to take, after doing PT 5 days a week, take this seriously. When did that come into your head? Like, when did that click for you?
So after I was back on my feet, went back to work. I'm in the restaurant and I just didn't feel happy there anymore. It didn't fulfill me the way that I used to. I mean, sharing a joyous experience or, you know, making people's day when they go out, like that fulfilled me. And it just no longer was fulfilling. So at this time, I had actually was working at Del Frisco's at Rockefeller Center.
Okay,
right
I worked
downstairs.
in that building at Sirius.
You already know. So, and Del Frisco's had a gym in the basement, a New York Sports Club. So one of the representatives of New York Sports Club came upstairs and offered us a corporate discount for about maybe $10 a month.
Oh, wow.
And
you
the staff was like 50. Yeah, I was like,
even if I
sign
only
me
go
up.
once a year,
But Edge, the funny thing is, out of the 50 people, only 2 of us raised our hands.
What?
2 of us raised our hands. I'm one of the 2. So got the membership, went into the gym, and then I saw these group of guys that looked like Greek gods. And I said, well, what's the secret, you know? So I started following them around and doing whatever they were doing, like an old lady in the casino, right? Like at the slot machine. So they were doing exercise, they would leave, then I'll go do the exercise. And this went on for a couple of weeks until one of the guys said, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Just join us, sir.
Just join us.
Yeah, just say hello.
Exactly. So then I did say hello. I joined them. And then it was now a team. You talked about accountability at the top of this interview. Now you have a group of guys who are anticipating you to come in. And when you want to tap out in the last few reps, they're cheering you on to get it done.
Right.
And I wanted to be at the gym more than I wanted to go to the restaurant anymore. So I switched on my schedule and I started going from 2 times a week to 3 times a week. They would go 5 days a week right after work. They had a normal 9 to 5 job.
Right.
And I literally switched my schedule to start to train. And that was, again, another chapter of the journey.
And then you also made sure that you got all kinds of certifications.
1,000%.
So talk about that, because I do love to encourage people, if you find something that you love, take those extra classes, those steps to get whatever certifications you need so that you can actually become a master at that.
Yes. So it's funny you say that because, unfortunately, during that time I did get injured. I was deadlifting way too much. You know, one of those
trying
days
to keep
you're
up
just
with
feeling
them
too
Greek
good.
gods.
Trying to keep up with the Greek gods. I wasn't Greek. I'm Trini. Stand up. And injuring myself made me want to read more and learn more. And then I also became a trainer at Equinox.
Okay.
You can't get hired without a certification. They have in-house education and continued education. So then something that you're so passionate about, you just naturally want to learn more. And if I do have clients and people are going to give me that trust, I wanted to make sure I had the education and I had the understanding and experience to guide them. Right?
Okay.
So yeah, definitely education was key.
Now, when I first came across you was with Tonal. And so I just went to a Tonal event, and You know, originally I'd seen it when I was at the mall. They have like a tonal store, Short Hills Mall. And I was like, let me go in there and just like, you know, try it out.
Yes.
And what's great about tonal is that it's something that doesn't take up a lot of space. You know, we're in New York. And
Real
it's not like, it's not like we got, you know, 15,000 square feet, not even sometimes 1,000 square feet. But the fact that you can have this a really flat screen on your wall, and then you have a bench that you can pull out when you need to, and that goes up against the wall too, if necessary. Talk to us about what tonal is and how you got involved.
Oh, great. So fitness has been a part of my life for over a decade now, and digital fitness is, I say, it's still relatively new. During COVID, I actually wanted to purchase a tonal, and then months later, I was actually offered a job for tonal.
Okay.
All right. So
had you bought one already?
No. I didn't.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Getting it free.
Exactly. But more on the tonal, I love the fact that you actually experienced it because you described it really well. For those who are unfamiliar, just imagine about a tablet on your wall, which has two arms on the sides with over 275 exercises plus with a bench, and the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So it's a small tablet. All you need is about 6 feet by 6 feet of space to complete all of the exercises comfortably. And you have a library of on-demand classes. We do live classes. And again, the amount of exercise that you can do is about over 280 exercises that you can do.
We've seen
with
LeBron doing this, right?
Of course. Come on now. LeBron's on point. He knows what time it is.
And the good thing about it, too, is that timing-wise, you know how sometimes you might be like, I only got 15 minutes to work out today. You can choose whatever time, whatever you want to focus on. It will all customize to whatever it is that you feel like you want to focus on within yourself.
With fitness, convenience breeds consistency. This thing lives in your apartment, so there's no commute. And again, you could just type in or filter through the classes. We have classes that range from 15 minutes all the way to an hour plus.
What's also great is you really can't hang your laundry on it like you can on a treadmill.
Nope.
So it won't end up drying your clothes.
It won't become a hanger. No, this is very sexy. It's very aesthetic. It's very beautiful. And you're going to be attracted to use it on a consistent basis.
All right, now this is going to be a hard question.
Oh, hard question.
Because clearly you love strength training,
yes, I do.
right? And
yes.
I told you already that was something that I've always been like, But it's great to do it because it's great because like my back, I'm always like leaned over. And I know like I've had trainers before who told me you got to continue to work out like your back muscles.
Yes.
That's what's going to help you with any back issues that you have, your upper back issues. What do you not like to do?
Ooh.
If you had to say your least favorite thing to do when you work out is?
If I'm being honest?
Yes.
And I hate doing core.
Yeah, me too.
Anything with core, that burn in the belly, that I can never get used to it.
I didn't anticipate that.
I know, right? Because it comes with a six pack. But the thing with core is that you can train your core without having to isolate it. So there's unilateral work. There's just a variety of exercise that you can do which will engage your core without you having to isolate it. So although I don't like training my core exclusively, it's always incorporated in some capacity.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say cardio because I feel like people who love strength training don't like cardio and vice versa. Like, I love cardio, but I know a lot of people who love cardio also are like, I don't want to have to do strength training.
Yeah, well, that's personally why I feel like the anomaly. I started off as a runner and then turned into a lifter.
I know.
If it was the inverse,
now,
I'd
do you still run? You know, a lot of people talk about how running is really tough on your knees, on your bones, on your ankles. What about you?
So I think anything in excess, and you definitely have to listen to your body. I personally am a sprinter.
Okay.
So I'm doing really short bursts of intervals. One of my favorite is kind of going on I call it the treadmill, and I'll do about 30 to 40 seconds at my top speed, and then 60 seconds of recovery. I call it the dirty dozen. I do 12 of those at a time. So it's about under 20 minutes.
Okay, maybe I can try that.
And for long distance runners, I do want to let people know that what the athletes do in practice isn't what they do on game day. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to go 1,000% all of the time, and then you're going to beat your body down, right? You can build up to it, make sure you have a plan, make sure you have a program, and you're not killing your body in the process.
Now, is it worthwhile, let's just say, you don't have a lot of time to work out, but to do like a 10-minute workout? Or is it like, let me just wait until I have at least 40 minutes?
Listen, if you only have 10 minutes, do
it.
the 10 minutes. A little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing.
Like,
it's real easy to say, I don't got the time. You better stop it. Even with mobility, because as we age, our body changes, and I think mobility is one of the first things to go. A 10-minute stretch routine or yoga routine found on Tonal is going to be a world of a difference.
All right, right, well, let's talk about the things, the training that you can find on Tono. Because like you said, there's yoga, there's strength training, there is cardio for people like me who love cardio. What else is on there?
We have boxing classes as well.
So wait, how does the boxing work? Because I know like when I was doing the curls, you could, have the straps and then you can feel the resistance. How does the boxing work?
So the boxing is not going to actually use the handles at all. Like even with yoga, you're not using any of the handles or the resisted weight.
Okay.
So in addition to the strength training, the cardio, there's boxing, there's mobility work. Shout out to Casey, who's like the queen of that in our wheelhouse. And yeah, again, the possibilities are endless. But what I do love the most about Tono is that sometimes we can go to the gym with the right intention, but we can't execute because we don't have a plan or a program.
Right.
Tono, you have to just show up. You can pick the workout and we'll guide you through every step of the way.
You know what else is great about it? That you don't have to be embarrassed. Because I'm going to be honest.
Talk about it.
Sometimes when I haven't been to the gym in a while, I don't need nobody to see me like start running and then stop.
Yeah.
And then out of breath.
Silently judging.
It is nice and to be able to do this in the convenience of your own home and not feel like people are watching you or somebody's, filming you or you're in the background of some shot in the gym. I think it is nice to be able to do that at home. And then there's no excuse for being like, I don't have time to go, find parking, go to the gym, go do this. It's nice to be able to say, I can just do this at my own convenience, on my own time, right before I go to bed, as soon as I get up in the morning or randomly in the middle of the day. Because sometimes I also feel like when I go to the gym, certain times it's so crowded.
The prime time hours.
Right, that I just give up. And I'm like, it's going to be too crowded if I go now.
Yeah. And I love that you said that too, because being a coach in this space, you would think that you're training a bunch of Greek gods or a bunch of athletes. No, you get a lot of regular people who do feel very insecure in that space. And it's really changed the way that I coach and the way that I approach it. I say that my coach is like honey on a medicine. So I'm not like the drill sergeant. I'm not going to make this the most grueling part of your day. It's actually going to be enjoyable and fun. And with Tono, it is for the everyday person, right? If you do work a 9 to 5 and you don't want to go to a crowded gym, you could do it at home. If you only have 20 minutes when you wake up, you don't even got to change your clothes. Get sweaty in your pajamas. You know what I mean? So that convenience breeds consistency, and it really is for everyone.
I'm glad that I just gave you all my excuses, and now we know there are none.
I also want to know, what's your least favorite? You love cardio.
I really don't like strength training and core. Yeah, I don't.
But you
I don't know.
The curls the other day.
That's good. But I need to do it, and it actually does make me feel a lot better. When, with my back. Like whenever I have any issues with my back, I like doing yoga a lot because that to me is better than any massage. That is like a full body, stretch yourself out. And it's also, like we said, so meditative.
Yes.
And it also makes your bowels nice and easy. I mean, that's a real thing.
It really is. It really is. Again,
it does. One thing about working out, it will definitely make you regular.
1000%. Whether you like it or not.
But I would say that, because I really enjoy cardio. I like running. I like doing the elliptical. All of those things I'm fine with.
Yes.
It's just like weights is tough for me. And I think my arms are like, so weak, but it feels so powerful when you're able to start doing small things and then build it up, and then you can see like the little cut coming in.
That right there was the gem. Tono starts you off at a baseline, at low weight, like it learns you. Right? So your very first workout might start off at 5 pounds. It'll track every single rep, how strong
Well, why did Tim have me at like 15?
Listen, I'll talk to Tim for you. I got you. Don't worry about it. I get Tim. But Tono will you do an assessment at the beginning. It finds out where you are.
Okay.
And then over time, without you even thinking about it or having to give it a second thought, like say Miss Yee is consistent for the past 4 weeks and she's been lifting up this 5 pounds easily, they'll just bump it up to 6.
It's like, is this AI? Would this be considered
Yes,
AI?
it is AI tech. Yes, it is. But it's a good AI.
People
it's here to help you and assist you.
There's a lot of good AI, but I just want to make sure we mention that too, because a lot of people are scared of AI. But when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to working out, AI can be very beneficial because it does have like a very unbiased view of what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And can work with you on that.
I think AI has been behind the scenes for a long period of time. Like the reason why our feed looks the way it does, the reason why we're fed certain information is because it's kind of constantly learning us.
Right.
And so with Tono, in the best way, learning your limitations, learning your strengths, and just making sure that you never plateau, it's always there to help you grow. And even on the inverse, if something is too heavy and it is too much, Tono will do the inverse and decrease the weight.
He'd be like, bruh, you can't do this. You're struggling.
It'll make you help you real quick. It does humble you. And it's just a great piece of machinery.
And they do have pre and postnatal workouts too, which I think is amazing to be able to do that. So I love it. You can concentrate on full body, upper body, lower body, core, any of those things. Stretches, which always you should be doing at the end of every workout and the beginning too, right?
Absolutely, like brushing your teeth. You know what I mean? Like personally,
some people don't floss.
So we got to floss and we got to train, okay? People, we got to stretch. So,
and how expensive is this? Because that's another thing that people are going to want to ask. Like, what if I feel like this sounds great, but I don't got no extra money to be able to do this? How does that work?
Well, we do have a way that you can pay month to month for the subscription and for the Tonelet itself. We have a white glove service, so all you have to do is sit back, relax, and we install it for you. So there are various ways to pay for Tono. It doesn't have to be a one-stop shop. And I'll even challenge people who say that they don't have the money to go ahead and tally up how much you're paying for a membership at the gym, how much you're probably investing in a trainer, how much time, and, map out the numbers and see if it works for you. But I guarantee that if you run the numbers, Tono is the one.
For the cost of a Chanel bag.
I mean,
you can get your body together.
Exactly. For one bag, you get two beautiful arms.
Right. And listen, for everybody that is doing whatever it is that they need to do to make sure that they feel confident in themselves, consistency is important. So even whether or not you decide, I want to get surgery, I want to take weight loss medication, or I just want to not do those things and work out, all of those things still require that you continue to be consistent in working out and implement those things if you haven't done that yet. So whatever it is that you're doing to achieve the look that you want to achieve, just remember, it's not going to stay that way if you're not consistent about taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and also, even if it isn't about looks, even if you're not driven by looks and you just want to live a full life, like some people like to travel.
Healthier,
some people love what they like to do.
I want to be alive.
You want to be alive. Like training shouldn't just be for looks and for the aesthetics. It's just because we want this life to be the best life. And even if you aren't consistent, like you said earlier, a little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing.
All right. Yeah. Well, Ackeem, how can people find you? And if they want to also get Tonal or go on there and find you on there, let us know how we can find you both on social media and on Tonal.
Well, like Coming to America, my name is Ackeem. You spell it with a C, a.k.a. Ock Don't Stop. And that is my tagline, DNTSTP. Once you start, don't stop. And that's where you can find me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you so much. All right. I'm going to check back in. I feel like I have some accountability.
Yeah. So let's go for a run and then do some strength training right after. Sounds good?
I don't have on the right sneakers,
right, cool.
but next time. All right. It's way up.